Welcome to Q&A Wednesdays with yours truly. I'm Darci. I'm the creator of the Vibrant Woman program. The question for this week is this. Darci, I know I need to feed my daughter more vegetables, but she doesn't like them. How can I sneak more veggies into her diet? Well, I've got an A for you, straight talk and straight from my heart because I have been there. So welcome everybody. Welcome. You know, when I decided to start doing these Q&A sessions every week, this really is a labor of love for me. I have lived this journey so let me tell you a little background. When I was a college student, you may not know this about me, I subsisted entirely on Diet Coke from a can, pretzels, the big Bavarian crunchy kind in a box, and Camel Lights. And I was a mess. Okay, I was overweight, I was unfit, I had asthma, I had chronic allergies, I had hormone imbalance, I was not happy, I was depressed. And so when I say subsist, it's like, it's amazing how the human body can survive this kind of mistreatment until we, wake up and learn more and learn to do better. So that's why I'm here. I want to help everybody have the knowledge, the information, and the inspiration and the support to learn how you can not just survive in that human body of yours, the one you get, one. But I want you to learn to thrive in it. I am thriving in a way that I never dreamed was even possible. And it's simply because I have learned how to take care of this body. Now, the background story on that is that, my daughter was brain injured at 12 days old. And if I was going to save her life and help her heal that brain and outgrow the disabilities that were heartbreaking, to watch her live with, then I was going to have to learn to do better. And I did. So anyway, turns out that all of this has had a profound impact on my own life and my well-being and my health. My clients' health, my family and friends, the other people who begin to adopt these principles notice the changes in their own body too. So that's why I'm here. I'm delighted you're here. I want to make sure I can see your questions and comments. If you are here live and you have a question or comment, I want you to type it in the chat box and I will do my very best to get to those. Otherwise, let's just dive right in. Okay, so you heard that question. Darci, I know I need to feed my daughter more vegetables, but she doesn't like them. How can I sneak more veggies into her diet? That is related to this other question that I got recently too. Do you have any recipes for putting vegetables into kids' foods? Like avocados or sweet potatoes in chocolate brownies. I need my kids to eat more vegetables. All right, if you're ready for my answer, the first thing I want you to do is buckle in. So yes, I absolutely have great ways to help your kids eat more vegetables, but it has nothing to do with sneaking or dishonesty of any kind. All right, so we're just going to take that off the table. I know a lot of you have seen, I'm probably missing a big piece of the market share here because I'm being just a little bit too direct and honest about this. I'm sure there are best-selling cookbooks out there that will tell you how to put a slice of avocado into chocolate brownies or sneak a sweet potato into your chocolate cupcakes. And I'm actually going to ask you not to do that. And let me tell you why. So bear with me. You're buckled in, right? Okay. First of all, I think we need to be really honest with kids. I don't think they need to be tricked into eating well. I think they were born with instincts that would guide them. So were you, by the way. So was I. Born with the instincts that will guide them to the absolute very best nutrition for their bodies in every moment. I absolutely believe this. Look at every other creature on the planet that has not been socialized by corporate marketing, period. All right, so yes, we're going to go there. Here's the problem. These questions really tend to come from families that actually, your instincts are right on. Of course, your kids need to eat more vegetables, and we all know that. It's just that message comes through in a culture of very, very mixed messages, right? So we've got the dietitian over here saying you need to eat more vegetables, but it's okay, to have six to eight servings of grains and sugar every day. And we're just lost in that. And we're lost in our bodies. We can't really tell. We can't tease apart like cause and effect because we've just been feeling so borderline bad for so long. We have lost touch with those instincts that we were born with to guide us. We have overridden them. If you're anything like me and you grew up in a family that thought canned corn was a vegetable, and that was the vegetable served at almost every meal, except the meals where potatoes were the vegetable. Now, those are two very starchy foods. Corn is a grain, not a vegetable. And I pretty much every other meal came out of a box or a bag, right? So I started my day with a box of something. All of my snacks and meals in between came out of a bag. It was very easy to find myself at the bottom of one of those bags. Junk foods, highly processed foods, carbohydrate rich foods are their relationship with our body is an addictive one because it takes the body away from its instincts. It distracts us from the wisdom that would be there otherwise. Our cells want to burn fat. We're pouring in sugar instead, and then we get all mixed up and we're not sure what to do. All right, so I'm going to tell you what to do. There is a way out of this chaos, and I do have a very simple, straightforward answer to this question about how to help our kids eat more veggies. And the most simple way to say that answer is this. You, mom and dad, have to eat more veggies. You just have to make it a family change, all right? Because what you're really doing here, so let's just talk about this for a minute. If you sneak avocado into your child's chocolate cupcakes, you might be adding a little bit of nutrient-dense food to an otherwise, junky, addictive forming food. So yes, you might be sneaking in a little bit of goodness. If you made that strawberry ice cream with real strawberries, you might be getting a little of nutrition into that thing that is also causing harm. So that's the thing here. We really need to tease this apart. It's more than just about sneaking in some vegetables. We really do need to revolutionize the way our kids view food. We need to redefine food. It's that simple. It's not easy to do in a culture like ours, but it's absolutely doable. So let's talk about this. When you are sneaking some nutrients into junk foods to help your children get more nutrition, I understand the thinking behind that, and you're not wrong. Okay, they do need more nutrient-dense foods, real vegetable foods. And I've been there. So there's no shame or blame in having this question. I have been there. And I'm going to answer for you. I'm going to tell you what I did. But here's the problem with that kind of thinking, really. So what I'm up to here is a paradigm shift, right? So always I'm going to kind of sneak down, pass through the symptoms, and really talk about the foundation here. What we need to do is redefine food, because if we're sneaking some nutrients into an otherwise junk food culture or situation, we're still teaching our children that junk food is what they should expect. And we're defining that as food. And then we're hiding real food in something that's not really food. But what do they expect, and how do they grow up? How do they learn to take care of themselves? What choices will they eventually be making? Do you think they're going to put avocado in their own cupcakes? Or is the store going to put avocado in their cupcakes when you stop doing it? Like, how are they going to ever just learn to eat an avocado? Right? So that's really where we are with this. All right. So I asked you to buckle in. I hope you're still buckled in. Okay. So instead of sneaking healthy foods into toxic foods as a way to get our kids to eat more nutritious food, I'm going to propose we just teach them to eat nutritious food from the beginning. Now, I didn't do that. I was raised on a junk food diet. I was subsisting on junk food through my early adult years. I only switched for myself because I realized I had to switch my daughter. I was out to save her life. So I was highly motivated. Some of us, we find it hard to be motivated and consistent because we're surrounded by other people doing the toxic things. That's where my services come in handy. And if you want help with that or some hand holding, I'll tell you before we're finished today how to get in touch with me and how I can help you, because it's not easy to do this alone. But here's some words straight from my dad, who's no longer with us in a body, but he still sends me his words sometimes. And here's something my dad would say: it doesn't matter how many other people are doing the wrong thing. you still need to do what's right for you. And that includes what's right for your kids. So that's why I want to lift up the beautiful intention in these mamas' hearts, the mamas who sent me these questions, and the mamas out there like them who are wondering this. All right, so let's just get straight to the point then. We don't want to trick our kids into eating healthy foods. We want to teach them to eat healthy foods. We want to redefine food. And here's how you're going to do it. You got to do it as a family. So you have to also learn to eat more real food. Now, here's a couple of obstacles in your way. So let's just name why this is hard. Number one, the reason you don't like the taste of vegetables, the reason I did not like the taste of vegetables was because I was eating too much sugar already. Most vegetables, and one of the signs that a vegetable is a nutrient dense food, that it has all the phytonutrients in it that your body can break apart and use to build cells and repair cells and provide neurotransmitters and functions in the body. Like, your body is literally making itself every day with what you put in. It needs those phytonutrients from the plants. One of the ways to know if that plant has plenty of phytonutrients is that it tastes bitter. And we have simply evolved out of our instinct to know bitter spinach is a wonderful taste if you're not already set to expect sugar. We've just got those sweet taste buds hyperactive. These foods, I heard Rob Wolf coin this term not that long ago. He calls them hyper palatable foods. And we start our kids off really young with hyper palatable foods. It's that sweet, sweet taste. And those taste buds, which is a nerve here, the other end of the nerve is in the brain, it sets up this neurological expectation. It literally is habit forming from the first bite, from the taste of it. And we're doing this to our kids from a very young age. Okay, so if you're eating sugar, too much sugar, and people say, how much is too much sugar? Well, I'm not going to go into that today. You can watch some of my other Q&As or come to a free discovery call with me and we'll talk about that. For a lot of us, any sugar is too much sugar. That's not true of everyone, but for a lot of us it is. So we're eating too much sugar. Our palate is expecting sweet. Our instincts are off, so we are not enjoying the taste of real vegetables. Okay, so the first thing we have to do then is fix that problem. We've got to get off the sugar, and then we can restore our palate to those normal instincts. And over time, and not very much time, as you might think, you will come to really enjoy a variety of tastes. Okay, sweet is just one taste. And we need to learn to appreciate a whole range of other tastes, all right? So that's really important. The other reason you don't like vegetables, and I can just speak for myself, the reason I didn't like vegetables was because I was eating too many processed foods, and I had so it wasn't so much taste expectation, but it was texture expectation. Everything I ate was made with flour, and it was either crunchy like a pretzel or it was soft like a bagel, like a cookie, like pizza crust. Like, that's not a variety in your diet. That's all the same food in a lot of different disguises, and it sets up an expectation for our taste and for our texture, for the way we're going to chew, how much we should chew, the way that it feels in the mouth. And a lot of kids are sensitive to this, and especially these days when we have a lot more kids expressing some neurodivergence and some sensory hypersensitivity. Okay, so, and there's a reason for that. That's linked to diet, nutrition, glyphosate use, cesarean birth. Like there's a whole reason we've got a generation of kids coming on with the highest rates of autism and sensory processing disorders ever. Today's not the time or place to go into all of that, but I do have a solution if you have a child expressing that way. Stay tuned till the end. I'm going to tell you about that. Okay, so we've got to change our expectations. So in other words, we have to get off the processed carb, sugary foods, and then we will find ourselves enjoying vegetables again. And I will just speak for myself, absolutely true, and it doesn't take long, and it doesn't make you weird. You don't have to like try to be that weird vegetable lady like I am, but your instincts will take over. And it is a wonderful, wonderful experience and journey to have, to begin to just love natural food. Real food of different colors and textures and tastes. No two carrots actually taste the same, especially if you pull them out of the dirt yourself. So this is a beautiful adventure that maybe you're at the beginning of right now, you with your kids, and you could set them up on an entirely different trajectory. And I'm speaking from experience. This woman who subsisted on this ridiculous, barely survivable diet of pretzels and Diet Coke. My daughter is the most beautiful, healthy eater I've ever met in my life. She eats, probably 20 to 30 different vegetables every week, lots of different protein sources, healthy fats. She's vital and thriving. She's the most vibrant person I know. And I could take some credit for that. I probably should take some credit for that. But really it's because I raised her exactly like I'm going to teach you in just a second. I taught her, we redefined food together, and I taught her how to eat more naturally. And because she was young enough, she was about 5 when I started this journey. She was about 8 when I got real serious about it and stopped with all the cheating, Oreos in the car only, but not in the house. And she's in her late 20s now, and so she's had a couple decades of just eating well. And she has the healthiest relationship with food of any other human being that I know. She only eats when she's hungry, what she wants. She stops before she's stuffed. She doesn't cheat herself. She doesn't cause herself any trauma or drama through her use of food. She just has a beautiful, loving relationship with her body and with food. And because of that, do you know what Haley has that I never had at her age? I'm just really beginning to discover it now, because I still had like some disordered eating that carried through even into my healthy habits. Haley has so much time and energy to be creative in her life because she's not caught up in this weird addictive spiral with food, toxic foods. Incredible. So this is what I want for you, but only if you want it for yourself. And I'm here to say it's possible. So here are a couple of practical applications and steps forward toward getting your children and your entire family eating more vegetables in a way that's just really honest and enjoyable. Okay, so what I want you to do, hold on, I'm going to go through my list here so that I don't get carried away. What I want you to do then is consider quitting sugar. Now, if you can't quit sugar entirely or you don't feel ready yet, then what I want you to do is make at least one meal a day, completely sugar-free, just all natural, real foods. I highly recommend that it be breakfast. There is no single other important meal, especially in the lives of our children who are going off to school for the day and have a lot of brain growth and development, learning and memory to do. Breakfast is the best gift you can give them of real food. So I want you to start with one meal. For some families, that's not going to be possible. You're going to start with dinner because, so again, take what works for you, take what resonates, and leave the rest. These are my best tips, okay? Start with one meal a day then that can be just real food. So what I mean by that is healthy fats, unprocessed protein, and some vegetables. For me, it makes sense to do this with breakfast. If you are running out of breakfast ideas, you're thinking, oh, I could do eggs, I could do bacon. What else is real food for breakfast, right? Almost all of our breakfasts come out of a box or a bag, don't they? So yeah, we got it. I think breakfast is our worst toxic cultural hang up too. The donuts and all that stuff, waffles, terrible. So actually to solve this problem, don't let me forget to tell you at the end how to find out. I'm going to do a workshop on this, and I want you to be the first to know about it. So I will tell you before we hang up this call how to get on my email list. So you can come in to my email subscriber list, and those are going to be the first people to know when registration opens. I'm offering a workshop soon. I don't have my calendar handy. So it's coming very soon. I'm going to teach you what to do about breakfast and how to eat real food, how to read labels, how to know which of those labels you need to put back on the shelf and walk away, and which ones belong in your cart, in your home, in your body, in your child's body. Okay? So start with one meal a day, making it protein, healthy fats, and some vegetables. All right? It can be very simple. That could be an omelet with some tomatoes and onion, green pepper, little spinach. It could be your bacon and eggs with, some fresh tomatoes on the side, use a piece of lettuce to wrap and make a BLT. Got lots of other ideas that we'll talk about in that workshop. But start with one meal a day and try to be consistent with that. And after a week or two, you're going to have that down, And then you can add another meal a day. So now you're doing breakfast and dinner that's only whole, real foods, okay? And over time, what you're really doing is creating less and less and less space in the diet for the junk foods. You're also creating less and less and less normalcy for those foods. And it's amazing how quickly the body will heal and repair and restore itself to natural instincts. Because your body wants to thrive. Your kids' bodies want to thrive. And one of the reasons that they put up such a fuss is because they're addicted to those foods. And one of the reasons they're so fussy is because those foods are having a terrible impact on their brain. Okay? I mean, sadness, depression, temper tantrums, a lot of that, we tend to look to the environment and say like, oh, these things are happening and these, people need to develop and mature to learn to handle their emotions. And well, that's part of that's true. Some of those emotions go away when the brain is getting everything that it needs. There is a whole lot less of that behavior stuff to deal with when you have a child who is well nourished. Okay? From experience, I'm telling you. I've written a few blog posts about that. So one of the links I'll leave nearby is for you to head over to my blog and just read more for yourself. Okay? So once you've been able to replace at least one meal a day with just real food, pretty soon within a week or two, you can do 2 meals a day. You're on your way to really having vegetables, number one, become more normal and to have more opportunities to serve vegetables. Because here's what I want you to do. I want you to start with the things that are just more likely to go well for your child. If there's a vegetable they already like and a way they already like to fix it, maybe it's not a lot of variety in the beginning, but if they'll eat broccoli with butter, you might serve that every night for a week. That's real vegetable. That's way better than French fries, okay? Those French fries are, here's the thing. This is kind of a joke. People like to joke about this. But even this is snarky, and when you're asking the answer already. So French fries are a vegetable, right? And the way you're asking it tells me you already know the answer. No. Well, maybe they were made with potatoes. And potatoes do grow in the ground. They're very high in starch. They're way too carby. They turn to sugar. For a lot of people, it's just like eating sugar. Inside the body, that's what happens. Same thing. But French fries are coated with all kinds of stuff. They're fried in terrible bad oil. Those fats, the body doesn't even recognize those fat molecules. They're inflammatory. They tear apart the stuff we need to happen in the brain instead of supporting it. Like, no, yeah, don't do that. Broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, whatever your child likes, start there. All right, let's start off with being successful. Let's not make this a battle. Okay, let's just make it a wonderful life change. And they've got to see you eat your vegetables too, mom and dad. You've got to eat your vegetables too. Okay, start with something they're already familiar with. Feel free to cover them with butter, not margarine, real butter, and salt to taste. Begin to teach your children to salt to taste. Don't salt when you cook the food. Have salt on the table. If it doesn't taste good, let them add a little more salt. We've been made terrified of fat and salt. Today is not the day to go into all the detail about that, but remember, we're recovering the body's natural instincts. Salt to taste is a great way to make sure that you are getting the electrolytes that you need and the sodium that you need for all your cellular functions, including stuff happening in the brain. Okay. Go for beautiful, colorful color combinations, colorful veggies. Use contrasting colors. Again, this is part of our instincts that we've sort of overridden. Think about what we love when we walk into a bakery. We ooh and ah over the colors. Okay, well, that's hijacking our instincts a little bit for, in a toxic way. But colors, they light up our brain. We are naturally drawn to them. Think about the way a garden looks. All of the leaves are green, except the part we're going to eat is a color. It's the red tomatoes, the beautiful, brown, golden color of the melon rinds. It's the yellow of the tomatoes. It's the white and purple of the cauliflower, like the colors that stand out. And when you get them on a plate, you get a bunch of different colors there. It's enchanting. It's enticing. It's our instincts drawing us to want to eat those foods. So use your child's favorite colored foods, okay? Mix colors. This is one of the pieces of advice I give to my private coaching clients. They're wondering, how many of this vitamin and how much of that vitamin and how am I sure I'm getting enough nutrition? And people wonder this about their kids as well. And yeah, there's some ways to measure that scientifically. And for some people, we need to. But for a lot of us, a good, easy, simple rule of thumb is just get as many colors on there as you can. If you go for as many different colors as you can get, 5 to 6 in a day. So let's say you prepare that meal. See if you can get 3 different colored vegetables in there. And if you can do 3 different ones at that second meal, think about it. Within a day, you're going to be eating a bunch of different vegetables. And that variety is the key to excellent nutrition because every food has slightly different nutritional makeup and we need a little bit of all of it. Okay? So that's a great way to guide it. It's a great way to make it fun for the kids. So here's the other thing that I suggest is I say, take your kids, well, maybe this is fun for you, maybe it's not. See if this resonates. Take your kids shopping with you and let them go into the produce section and every week find something that looks weird that they've never seen before, they've never eaten before, and let them pick that out, bring it home, come home and look up the name, learn how to spell that word. I'm speaking straight, this is a tool straight out of my own toolbox. This is how I did this with Haley. She learned to type it. She'd read about the food. Where does it originate? What nutrients are in it? What's a recipe with it? No better challenge for reading than to learn to read a recipe because that's very intrinsically motivating. Back when I used to be a literacy coach, I was always telling people we don't want to read to be able to answer questions on a test. We want to read to be able to learn something that benefits us in our life. We want to learn and be entertained. So teach your kids to look that food up and learn a recipe with it. I'm telling you, there is really no food that you can go wrong with just lightly steaming and covering with butter and salt. So don't think you have to make this fancy. Don't think it has to take a lot of time or investment. The older your kids get, this is one of the ways to bring them on board. They can, if they want to use that tablet, that's fine. But the first thing you do with that tablet is look this food up and find a recipe and figure out how we're going to make this together. And then sit down and eat together. That's the other tip I really have. I think in our busy modern lives, we have kind of forgotten how important connection is. Connection to the food, connection to each other. And that what we share this way, yes, what our food tastes like and looks like. I've just spent 20 minutes arguing that is important, but it's food and it's going to go in and it's going to nourish us if we've chosen it well. And what we really need to do is to find a way to have more of those present moments with the people that we love. So let's make that part of the ritual too, to enjoy the food, but to enjoy it in each other's company and to make that a part of the experience. Okay, well, hopefully I have just done a really good job of selling you some vegetables that don't have to be hidden. If you want more suggestions or if you begin to apply this and you run into some bumps, I want to hear from you. The best way to do it is to email me. So connect@darcihawkshurst.com. That's DarciHawkshurst.com, connect@darcihawkshurst.com. I want to hear from you. I'd love to have you on the insider loop where I send emails out every weekend. They tend to usually have a recipe in there. And here's what I want to say then. The final answer to this, should I be hiding vegetables in chocolate cupcakes? I don't recommend that. What I actually recommend instead is that if you're going to make a treat, if it's a birthday or it's a long weekend celebration or a holiday, something you need to celebrate and you want to make a sweet treat, there's no reason not to just learn to make those with healthy, real food ingredients in the first place. So I know a lot of us have gotten used to just like grabbing that box, Betty Crocker or whatever, I don't even know the name of brands out there anymore. Grab a brand name of something and dump an egg and some oil in it, right? Like that's the way we used to make brownies. Probably in just about the same amount of time you can do that. I can teach you to make things like banana muffins, blueberry muffins. I make pumpkin muffins. We do chocolate stuff sometimes. I just had a recipe out for fudge pops for the summer. Just a handful of real food ingredients. So it's not a cheat kind of treat, and it's not the kind of thing that you are going to run into. I call them a hangover. Like a hangover in your body the next day from too much sugar, from too much carb, from just a lack of nutrients, from a lack of sleep. A lot of those junk foods disrupt our sleep. So it's really time, beloveds, to stop sort of trying to trick and cheat your body for a few moments of like sensory pleasure, for addiction, for habits. It's time to restore a beautiful relationship of integrity with that body of yours, and to teach your children to do the same. And I'm just here to say it's absolutely possible. Okay. So come get on my email list, and you'll have those recipes coming into your inbox every week. There's also the story of how I helped my daughter outgrow her brain injury. I don't talk about that all the time front and center, but I'm honest about where I learned a lot of this stuff. And I just want to say this. If you have a child whose development you are concerned about, developmental delays, labels like autism, epilepsy, developmental delay, learning disabilities, ADHD, those are not life sentences. They are descriptions of symptoms. The symptoms have a root cause in the brain, and there is something you can do about organizing that brain and helping those kids become more neurologically mature and organized, and to outgrow those disabilities, at least to some extent. I have done it. So the Doman Method course is something I highly recommend. It's a Doman International. They have an online course now that teaches parents how to understand what you're seeing in your kid, and exactly what to do about the brain. So I've taken it. It was life-changing for me. It's the reason my daughter is now a successful independent college student, and they have allowed me to offer a generous $50 off discount when you use my referral link. So I'm going to put that link somewhere nearby. Take a look. If you don't see it, just again, come into my inbox and let's talk. I also offer support services because I have done this. I've walked this journey. I have a lot of expertise and experience here. I'm happy to help new families. Number one, to answer your questions and concerns. It's pretty much every week I talk to a mom who says, should I really be doing this? Do you think I'm capable? Do you think it will help my child? If you have those questions, come and talk to me, and I'll you know me, I'm going to tell you the truth from my own experience, and you're welcome to pick my brain. I also offer support services for families that are trying to get their lives organized in a way to be able to do this program. Okay, so I want you to know you are not alone. I know what that feels like, to be alone with that and to be very frightened for the future of your child. And I'm also here to say one of the reasons that I talk such a big, powerful game about food, real food, and nutrition is because I have lived the power of that. But I do want to say, if you have a child with significant neurological problems, that nutrition is going to be part of the foundation, but nutrition by itself alone won't be enough to make those long-term changes. You're going to need to know what to do to impact that brain. All right. So again, I'll put the link nearby. You can check out that course. If you have questions, contact me. Let's see. I already told you about my the label reading and breakfast idea workshop is coming up. The best way to learn about when registration opens for that is to be on my email list. If you're worried about quitting sugar, I say it all the time, you got to quit sugar. A lot of you don't like hearing that, and I totally understand. If you're not ready yet, just keep following for free. Just keep trying what I suggest. Just keep making the baby steps that you can make, because I promise they're still taking you in the right direction. But if and when you are ready and you want the hand holding to get over that sugar, I actually created recently a new mini program to help you. And I just want to read you this. I have a woman that I'm working with right now who has had the most powerful experience with this. And I just talked with her, and these are a couple things I wrote down that she said today. I want you to hear this. She said that she was in such a vicious cycle. Well, let me read her quote. I was in such a vicious cycle of eating things that made me feel bad, and then feeling bad about myself about it. I used to wake up feeling like, ugh, she said. And now I wake up feeling good every day. This is just a gentle nudge in the right direction for me. I no longer seek comfort from junk foods, from the foods I know are actually hurting me. If I want to comfort myself now, I can eat a cucumber. And I feel that eating foods that give my body energy is a new form of self-love. It helps me avoid the shame that I used to feel. So wow. Just wow. That has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with her taking things out that don't work for her body, and just learning to listen to her body and learning to love her body and let it love her back. Your bodies are doing their best. Your kids' bodies and brains are doing their best. And we just need to learn to work with them. Okay. So I think that's really it. I don't see any comments or questions. I see a handful of you there live, and I'm so glad you're there. I love it when you show up and you spend this time with me and we can just sort of share the vibe and the energy together. I also love seeing you in my inbox. I love the wonderful questions that you're bringing forward that I get to talk about. Let's see. I mentioned the carb test, the new label reading workshop coming up, the Doman Method course for kids who struggle, and my private coaching program. If you are a woman who is struggling to feed your family in a way, that you could be proud of, it's probably because you're not feeding yourself in a way that you're proud of yet. We're most powerful when we really are in alignment ourselves, when we're doing what we know is right and we're thriving. And so if that's something that you want help with, I also offer a 5-month deep dive into the protocols that I created in my Vibrant Woman program. And it's a new topic each month for 5 months. And we just deep dive and figure out what's going to work for your body. Starts with nutrition, as you know. We'll go into movement, sleep and stress, hormone balance, and intuition, and how that ties everything together, because your body's always talking to you. It's always telling you what you need to hear and what you need to do next. And so that's what it is. I would love to see you. I think I will have a spot opening soon. So if you're interested in that, it's always a good idea to talk first and see if we think it'll be a good fit. And then I'd be glad to put you on the wait list for that spot coming open soon. This is a really good time of year as we begin to sort of just lean toward fall. Pretty soon we are all going to get that rush of like school starting and new birth. The fresh air of those first few fall days, they make us want to start something new. And what better thing could you start than a brand new relationship full of love and integrity in your very own body? That's what I'm living now, and I invite you. It's a beautiful way to live. So I invite you personally to join me. Okay, beloveds, the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you can't make these lives here in the middle of the day, but you want to get notifications of when I post them all over there on YouTube, subscribe, share with a family member or friend who you think you would like to join you on this kind of journey, some other people you want to nudge toward thinking this way. This is all about a paradigm shift. All right, we just can't keep buying what they're selling and be well. We've got to carve a new path, and I'm here for it. I'm so glad you're here for it. All of my love to all of you, and I will see you soon. I want to see you in my inbox. Have a good day. Eat those veggies.